truth that I am the beloved of the beloved. Thank you.
That is one of my all-time favorite quotes. Such a reminder that when we commit, the universe is in full support. It's in full support anyway, but there's the power of commitment. So this month, I've been inspired by the quote from Meister Eckhart that says, "Awe is the beginning of wisdom." And so I like starting off each time with that as a reminder that as we stop taking things for granted, and as we begin to be in awe and wonder of creation itself, the miracle of life on the macrocosmic scale, the universe itself, the cosmos, and all the new stars that are being birthed and new planets, who knows where, and realizing that it's ever expanding and new complex forms of life continue to take place. And we get to be awake and aware enough to appreciate it. And so, as we do, so that's macrocosmic, but we can also take for granted things in our everyday lives, our own life, the people in our lives, and I could go on and on and on. So this is a call. This is a call on my part for us to move back into that state of awe, which is very much in tune with gratitude, which is the month that's coming up. Because when we live in that vibration, we are expanded. We begin to see things from a higher perspective. We get out of our, of our kind of narrow-mindedness, and we expand out into a greater awareness that this amazing life that we have is so full of potential. And we begin to live as the great saints and sages and spiritual masters of all time. And I can think of many of them, and I'm sure there are so many more, but the Hindu sages and gurus, the Buddha, Jesus, we could go on and on, all of these great beings who demonstrate for us what it is to live as who we are in truth. So within each one of us, then, is an avatar, a Christ, a Buddha, a Krishna, a sage, a saint. Each one of us has that within us. And so as we begin to realize that, this is the awe and wonder again. As we live in that state, then we live in the present moment. Have you noticed that? Awe and wonder brings us right back to the present moment and gets us off of the past. Then we allow a space for that potential to rise up and show up in our lives. So let's breathe that in for a moment. And so what this means is that this is beyond the old model of thinking that we are to live a life of sacrifice, or that somehow poverty is more glorified than abundance. And the thing is to get out of judgment of it all, and instead let me just share this beautiful reading by Ernest Holmes. He said, "Free yourself forever from the thought that God may be pleased by a life of sacrifice, or that righteousness is more perfectly expressed through poverty than abundance. Know that the greater the abundance of every good thing which you bring out in your life." And, when I think of abundance, I think of more love, more peace, more joy, more wisdom, that level of abundance that outpictures, that's the seek first the kingdom and all else shall be added. As we focus on giving the abundance of our own nature, our divine nature, everything else gets taken care of. So he said, know that the greater the abundance of every good thing that you are bringing out in your life, the more perfectly you are expressing the divine urge within you. Anything you can dream of is not too great for you to undertake if it hurts no one and brings greater good. So I'd like you to say with me, or after me, I'm here to bring my big dreams forward.
I am here to bring my big dreams forward.
As I do,
I
am blessing the world.
I am blessing the world.
Which is true, because there's no such thing as a private good. As we express our good nature, we truly bless everybody else. So what is next then today? What is today going to be all about? Well, I want to refer to Captain Jean-Luc Picard and what he said to Data every time that they were ready to take off for a new adventure. Anybody know what the word was?
Engage.
Engage. Yeah, engage. Engage. Inspired action, which moves us in the direction of our dreams, where no man or woman has gone before, right? So last week I gave everybody, it was in your programs, a handout called the Dream List. And for those of you who weren't here, this is the essence of what it was. Is that at the top of the page, you write whatever it is that your dream is for your life. And the recommendation is that you keep it, there we go, that you keep it to one particular goal in your life. Rather than put your entire life down there. Choose career or choose finances or, choose one. And then on the left-hand side, what is mine to do? And on the right-hand side, what is God's or the universe's to do? So what is mine to do is anything that I feel inspired to do physically, logically, emotionally, or spiritually. So I want to look at it from all levels. And then what is the universe's? It's basically everything else. So think of possible miracles, serendipities, happy accidents that you would like the universe to support you in, and that is what tends to unfold. So here's how it works. You engage by doing what is yours to do, and your engagement gives the universe the opportunity to work through you to bring you people who have been looking for what you offer, to arrange circumstances to ease your journey, to open your eyes to new possibilities, and to put physical resources and new opportunities in your path. So this is what that beautiful quote was all about that was read by Kristen today. Von Goethe said it so beautifully. The moment that we commit, and we commit through our actions, through our thoughts, but also through our actions. When we commit, providence moves too, and all manner of amazing things start happening. And the key is to begin it now. But sometimes we get this crazy notion that we have to have all of our ducks in a row in order to make the first step. We've got to have, I don't know, whatever it is in your own mind, the right education, have the whole thing planned out to the nth degree, down to each little task. And I know I've been there many times myself. And yet, if we don't take the first step, we really hold ourselves back from something really amazing, which is that dream in our heart that wants to be birthed. So think about a mama duck with all the little ducklings. If she waited for every single little duckling to line up perfectly behind her before she started crossing the stream, she might be waiting forever. So think of yourself as the mama duck. So rather than that, this is pretty much how it goes. Dan? While we're waiting, let's breathe. Let's close your eyes. Let's drop down into your hearts. And I think we're ready now. See how powerful we are? There you see the mama duck over here. She's hesitating. And now she's just making her way little by little. She's actually quacking at all the little ducks. I know you can't really hear that very well. But do you notice how she's waiting for them to line up? She could be waiting forever here. So think about how sometimes you're that way. You're just waiting. And then finally you just say, okay, I guess I better just go. Oh, see, more finally coming. Oh, there's another one. That was a lot of them. Okay, that's good, Dan. So my point is that our ducks never line up until we go. If we sit around and wait for you could see, she would be waiting forever. But you finally just have to go and then trust that everything is lining up for you. So it says, whatever you can do or dream, you can begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. So if I had waited for all of my ducks to line up before I stepped into this calling, which is called ministry, I would have waited a very, very long time. But I've stepped into it, and I continue to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And most recently, there have been a lot of really amazing things that have happened. One of them, I'll just share a couple of them because some of you know and some of you don't know. But one of them is the way in which opportunities to serve the greater world show up. So we have our friendship house that we do regularly, which is a really wonderful thing. But because of my involvement in Peace Week Delaware, I found out about the Syrian refugee drive to gather clothing and stuff for Assyrian refugee camps that are actually in Europe, in Turkey, I believe. And so we are joining many other spiritual communities, churches, temples, mosques, etc., in this area to gather things to send over. And for the size of our community, I don't know if you can see them in the back of the room there, but there's a lot of stuff there that's ready to go this afternoon over to St. Joseph where they're collecting everything. And so for me, it just speaks to the way in which you just say yes to something, and then you allow the universe to support you in, through, and as everybody that's around you, and so on and so forth. So that's a really good example to me of how that works. Our food drive, which the barrel we're going to keep in the back of the room here, that's another good example. We put it out there, and we set our intention, and we let the universe work in, through, and as all of us. And sometimes there are nice little surprises that show up. We had somebody that moved out next to us, in the offices next to us, that showed up one day and said, "We have 12 red chairs that we'd just like to give you if you'd like to have them." And so that's how all of those red chairs showed up. I don't know if you saw the red chairs. And we said yes, and they needed a little cleaning, but that's okay. Now they look really great. What? Oh, the ring. Oh, yeah, I was going to tell you that next. So again, I got the intuition, I got the calling, I got the God bumps to join this Peace Week Delaware movement and be on the steering committee. We've been praying for a while, our practitioners, to be a part of peace on earth. And our community is dedicated to that on a larger scale anyway. So when I was invited to be part of the steering committee, I said yes. And even though I couldn't make all of the meetings, I did what I could. And that led to meeting some really amazing people, the people who are the peace workers in this area, and realizing the wonderful work that they're doing, and feeling wonderful that we are a part of that now, that we were able to contribute 2 beautiful offerings during Peace Week Delaware, our movie and our yoga and meditation night. And then something else really amazing happened, and this just shows you how spirit moves in. We've been a little behind in our finances recently, and so we've been praying for things to open up so that we can allow more good to come in. And so as a result of being on that steering committee, when I was invited to go to a fundraiser for the Delaware Center for Justice, which is where we had our steering committee meetings, an organization that supports prisoners in getting a new start. A very worthy cause. Dan and I went. We don't usually go to these fundraising dinners, but we went to this. And as we arrived, there in front of us was this great big huge bowl full of little tubes with gems in them, and that looked like diamonds. And then I was, Dan and I were each invited to pick one. And at the very end of the evening, what happened was, Dan gave me both of our tubes, and he went off and did something, and I waited in line, and the jeweler checked each one, looking at it to see if it was the one or if it was a zirconium. And as I approached, I'm feeling really excited. And what I didn't share with you is when I picked it, I set an intention that not only was I choosing the diamond, but that I was donating the proceeds of it to the Center for Joyful Living. So that's a big key right there. So as I approached, I handed it over to the jeweler. The first one was not it. He put it down, but he picked up the next one, and he looked at it. He looked up at the light, and he continued to look at it, and sure enough, it was the diamond. It was the diamond. So, so there I am standing with the jeweler. He's Carl Dubé, and I can't tell you how in awe I was of the whole thing. I was like, oh my gosh, this really happened. Wow. So then I'm thinking, but you know what? I don't want the diamond. I want the proceeds from it. So, I told him about it, and he said, "Well, come to my shop and we'll talk about it." So we did. We went. Dan and I went to the shop the next day, and he said, "Look, I want you to maximize this. I know you want to give this to your spiritual community." So he said, "I'll put it in a setting. I have an event in November, so I want everybody to pray." An event in November that is. Where I will, I'll be promoting a lot of things and I'll sell it, I'll maximize it, I'll sell it for the highest price that I can, and then give you the proceeds. So, November is coming up. I don't know the exact date of the event, but if I find out, I'll let everybody know. And in the meantime, if everybody could zero in, remember how we pray here, we just simply claim the truth. We claim that it's already done. We know that the proceeds are one, that it sells with ease and grace. The proceeds come to us with ease and grace, and that we are abundantly blessed by it. So this is how it works. We take the first step, and then we have here. And one of the big parts of this is to not allow ourselves to be pulled down by circumstances, by how things look. Today's a really good example. There aren't many people here today, right? Well, I'm inviting all of you to join me in seeing the room full anyway. This is how we do it. We don't allow ourselves to be pulled down by this. Instead, we replace it with an intention. It is my intention that, and this is what we do in our own lives. We change our thinking around as quickly as possible. When we notice that there's a little fear or something that starts to creep in, we shift immediately, and then what we do is we lift our vibration and we make ourselves more available for spirit to work through us. So action, this thing about engagement, happens on a couple different levels. It happens first in our thinking, and then it happens in our actions. Both are important, because if we take the actions but we're still carrying around a lot of fear, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. So, everything's moving along in divine right order and absolutely under grace. So, engaging with faith and persistence then are high and holy spiritual activities. So I just want just to kind of ground this. Let's turn this into an affirmation in this moment. Let's just say I engage in faith and persistence. Knowing I'm involved in high holy activity. Yes. So we want to remember then that awe is the beginning of wisdom. This is a vibration. Awe is actually a natural state for all of us. It's the state of our divinity. As we allow ourselves to stop taking things for granted, to notice the good, to be in appreciation and awe of every aspect of life, we notice that we line up with the universe and with the dreams that are in our hearts. And I'm reminding everyone too, however long you've been a part of this teaching, that those dreams, those inner urges are really the thoughts in the mind of God that are moving in, through, and as us. So it helps us to stay in our magnificence. It helps us to stay in a state of success and happiness and trust. And it helps us to remember that as we do our part, we allow the universe to do its part in the revealing of all of our dreams, our divine magnificence, the sheer joy of this life and living. So I'm inviting you to engage. Whatever it is that you're being called to do, begin it now. And so it is.
And so it is.
you.